artist Wayne Burch joins me. First of all, I've enjoyed your work for years. I just haven't had the privilege of meeting you. Nouveau, right?
Yes,
Long time
Nouveau News Weekly. We probably were at a couple SBJ dinners together.
Probably, exactly. So we'll get to your work in a minute, but how has it been in 2020 for you and other indie area artists, just trying to continue to work and sustain your passion, your creativity?
It's definitely been tough, between no longer being published in Nouveau Weekly, and a lot of the art that I did was gig posters for local venues, and they're all under. And the main gallery that I was displaying at for the last 4 years was New Day Meadery in Fountain Square,
right.
And they got acquired by Fountain Square Brewery, and they closed that location and moved it over into the brewery. And so between those three things, it was pretty rough, but now things have picked up at Fountain Square Brewery. Things have picked up at Nine Lives Cat Cafe. I have art there. And then I just joined Full Circle 9 Gallery the last 3 months or so. And so now I've got another venue.
And it's time for First Friday.
Yes,
and
it is.
The first Friday of the year, first Friday of the month. So what's going to happen with this virtual
because
exhibit?
of it being on New Year's and because of COVID, this one's going to be virtual. But people can come. I'll be there all day Saturday, the next day. So if anybody wants to come in and meet me and do a meet and greet like we normally would do on First Friday, I will be in there all day Saturday. But Friday, if you go to the Full Circle 9 Facebook page or website, there'll be videos on there showing the artwork, showing some of my other artwork, showing some time-lapse paintings that
awesome.
that where I've painted live and stuff. There's some there, and I do this in bars too sometimes when that was going. There's several local bands. Blackjack Davy would have me on stage, and they'll play a whole set of Steve Ray Vaughan covers while I do.
While you do a Steve Ray Vaughan,
yeah,
that's great.
And so,
how does your art different from, say, a canvas versus a gig poster versus doing a strip for Nouveau?
With the advent of computer art, a lot of people think that all my stuff in Nouveau at the end was digital, but really I still am old school enough that mostly I would draw it by hand, scan it in, and then manipulate it and color it. I really never embraced fully doing everything electronically. I still like having my hands on the paper, having my hands on the canvas.
But as an old man, I was always a little dismissive of the computer's doing it. And I've learned a lot through my daughter, who's a senior at Heron School of Art at IUPUI. It's just another medium.
Right.
It deserves its own level of respect. So talk to me about, it took me a second because of the angle where I was at with the chair, but that's obviously B. Arthur.
Yes. So my paintings, for whatever reason, have really been embraced and adopted by the LGBTQ community. They've bought a lot of my work over the last 5 years. I was looking for a theme idea for the show when Joy asked me to be the artist of the month. I always lock myself into a theme to force myself to focus.
Sure.
And I just decided I'd call the show Love is Love, and I asked on Facebook for who were LGBT icons, who were pop. I do a lot of pop culture stuff and repurpose it, and just ask people for ideas. And literally, these were ideas from my fans on Facebook that said.
But because this is sort of pop and iconic, right? You wanted it maybe a little more recognizable, while this is a little bit more of your own influence?
Yeah, like when I do the live paintings, like the Steve Ray Vaughan and stuff, it's like in this style.
Okay. Do you have a name for this style?
I call it spontaneous realism is what I call it.
Okay, I like
that. When I first started doing stuff at New Day, she told me that her price point, that the best things that sold were under $300. And if you do a big painting, it takes you several days, and you're going to make minimum wage at $300. So I decided I had to come up with styles that I could work fast to make it so that it would be an affordable price point.
And replicate within the style.
And so, the styles that I do this in, I can do that painting in about 90 minutes and knock it out. And that's just the style that I've adopted. I take and draw it on there with some Conte crayons or black pastels, they call it, and then I'll apply most of it with a palette knife, and then I'll usually leave it sit for a day and go back and touch it up with highlights.
How do you know? I ask this of every artist. How do you know when it's done?
Honestly, my wife tells me. There's a lot of
That's
times
a
where
good
she's like,
answer.
"You need to quit working on it. You're gonna mess. It's good like it is.
That's great.
You're
Yeah,
doing too
exactly.
far."
And you work in ink too.
Yeah, I do a lot of small ink portraits for people, and I was thinking of which pieces to bring in here last night. I thought, well, I should sit down and do one of you and Amber. So,
How long did it take you to fire this off?
maybe a little over an hour.
Oh, wow.
So
That's amazing.
I do quite a bit of those. Sadly, a lot of the ones I've done, I like that's on a wallpaper scrap.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the ones that I do, I do a lot of upcycling. Most of my canvases come from Goodwill, and I repurpose them. And a lot of the portraits that I do like that, I do them on sheet music. I do them on old
my
pieces of
gosh.
sheet music and stuff. And I've
What a
done
great
a lot. Unfortunately, the most requested thing I get is, my uncle just died. Can you do this one on this hymnal page?
Oh,
and
boy.
so I do a lot for people that have just passed.
Yeah, but-
I've done a lot of veterans too, like on maps of where they served, like
Fantastic keepsakes.
an Afghanistan map. And
Quickly, where the Facebook page for Friday?
so you can follow me on Wayne Barfly Burch
Okay.
on Facebook, and then I think it's fullcircle9.com.
Yeah. We'll put all those links on
Yeah.
IndieStyle.tv and blast it out to our viewers. Thank you so much for your insight and your input and your art. Appreciate it very much.